Hi Fossil Ridge. Today I'm going to share with you 4 books that you might be interested as you study mythology in your English classes. These 4 books are spin-offs, which means they are based on classical mythology. Most of them are based on Greek mythology. The first book that I'm going to share with you is The Lightning Thief, and this is part of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. There are 5 books in this series, so this might be a good option if you're looking to spend some time with a character and really get to know him or her and be part of the action for a while. This book probably looks familiar, or perhaps you've heard of its title because it was made into a movie several years ago. That was pretty popular. It did pretty well. So, The Lightning Thief is about Percy Jackson. And in the beginning of the book, Percy Jackson's world suddenly starts to become turned upside down by the arrival of these characters from mythology. They just seem to be jumping off the page. All of a sudden, Mercury or Athena and some of the other gods and goddesses from Greek mythology are in his life and interrupting his world, which is okay because Percy really has had it kind of tough. He's moved around from schools a lot. So, when these gods and goddesses and mythological characters start appearing in his life, he is pulled into a quest. It turns out that someone has stolen Zeus's lightning bolt, and Percy is the main suspect. And that has to do with a secret of who his father really is. So to find out who his father really is, and to see who has stolen Zeus's lightning bolt, and what role Percy will play in getting it back, check out The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This next book is called The Night Tourist by Catherine Marsh. And The Night Tourist follows the story of Jack Perdue, who's a 9th grader, and he's pretty much of a loner, but he is in a very dangerous accident one day. And as a result of the accident, his father sends him to see this doctor in New York City. Well, the last time that Jack was in New York City was when his mother was killed 8 years before. So when he's in Grand Central Terminal, which is the big main hub, the train station in New York, on his way to see this mysterious doctor, he meets a girl named Yuri. And Yuri introduces him to several stories below the train station, which is actually a portal to the underworld. So if you know anything about Greek mythology, you know the Greeks believed that death was an actual place called Hades in their underworld. And that many of the demigods, like Hercules and some of the mortals, Perseus is another demigod, can actually travel to the underworld if they know the way. So this story kind of follows that myth of the underworld. And there, Jack learns the mystery behind his mother's death and, again, more about his past that he didn't understand before. This next book is called Sweet Venom, and this book is written by Tara Lynn Childs. In Sweet Venom, we have the stories of 3 girls, Grace, Gretchen, and Greer. And in the beginning of the book, Grace has just arrived at her new school where she's really excited. It's going to be a fresh start. But on her first day, she's surprised by the arrival of a Minotaur who walks into her school and starts wreaking havoc. Well, Gretchen, the second girl, jumps up and starts battling the Minotaur. Grace learns that, like Gretchen, she is part of a group of descendants of Medusa. And if you remember who Medusa is, she is the woman who has the hair of snakes, of serpents. And she, Grace, Gretchen, and then finally Greer, learn that it is basically their destiny to fight these mythological monsters in today's time. So again, like The Lightning Thief and The Night Tourist, we have the arrival of these classical creatures of mythology into today's world. And it's a really interesting twist. So this is Sweet Venom. This last book is named The Unnamables by Ellen Boraim. And The Unnamables is kind of the odd man out of the group. Even though it has mythological ties and allusions, it is not as concrete about its mythology as the other 3. The other 3 books are most definitely stories about mythological creatures like Medusa and the 12 Olympians and the Lightning Thief. But the Unnameables is a little bit more subtle. In the Unnameables, we have a character named Medford. And Medford has washed up onto the shore of an island when he was an infant. They found him tied to a board. And so he didn't have a name. When he arrived, they gave him the name of Medford Runyon, and Runyon means nobody. So he arrives literally as nobody. And this island is very specific about naming things. Everything that is important has a name. And when you turn 14, you are assigned a role in the community. So everything has its place. So you can see why Medford is even more of an outcast here than he would be in just some other place. But Goatman arrives on the island and befriends Medford and starts to kind of turn things upside down. Goatman is half goat, half man, and he is created after the satyr in Greek mythology, who is half goat, half man. And the satyrs were kind of the companions or the pals of Dionysus and the god Pan. So there's our mythological tie-in for the Unnamables. If you liked The Giver by Lois Lowry, then you might also enjoy The Unnameable. So it has that same idea where your society really determines who you are from your name to what you're going to do with your life. So this is kind of a different one, a little bit of a twist for the Unnamables. So these were 4 books that I wanted to share with you that you might be interested in as you read more and talk more about mythology in your class. There are more titles than just these 4. When you come into the library, you will see a display straight in front of you, right to the side of that big round desk, and there will be several more titles there that all have some kind of tie into mythology. So I invite you to come on in and stop by and see what there is, or feel free to come by and check out one of these books that I talked with you today. Thanks.